Doors, what on God's green earth is this? Okay. So, as you all know, Doors released a mini update just a couple days ago, at least as of recording this video, and one of the new features added to it was this brand new item, the knockback stick. Now, I never really paid much attention to this item, namely because it's practically impossible to get in the main game, so I'd never actually see the thing. But today I decided, you know what, screw it, I'm actually going to give this item some attention. So I did just that, and let me just say, this item is weird, like very weird. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you viewers didn't even know half the interesting stuff about the knockback stick. So, in this video, I'll be going over all the secret information you need to know about Doors' newest secret item. We have got a lot to discuss today, so with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so what exactly is this knockback stick? Well, like I said, it is a new item added in the latest Doors update. But what makes it especially interesting is that it's the first solely admin panel exclusive item in the entire game. Yeah, that's right. No matter how much effort you put into trying to get this thing, you will never find it. Unless you spawn it with the admin panel, of course. No other item has this trait, and that only means one thing. If only admins have this item, it must be busted. And you bet you're behind, it definitely is. This one item is stupidly overpowered, practically overtaking all the other weapons in game with its sheer strength. Now you might be wondering how it works exactly. Well, let's get into that. The knockback stick, like its name suggests, knocks back stuff. The item itself is actually a reference to the knockback stick from Minecraft, a popular custom-made weapon with a similar functionality. The item being a reference also explains why the stick is glowing purple too, in case you didn't catch on to that. Now, if you are playing by yourself, this item does absolutely nothing. But if you attempt to use it on another player, they will go flinging across the room. What's more, there is no cooldown or drawback to this ability. You can just infinitely harass whoever you are playing with by constantly whacking and flinging them. This is what I meant by this item being absolutely broken. It's impossible for other players to counter it. Now, I think it's pretty obvious why this thing is exclusive to the admin panel, as in the actual game it would be quite annoying to deal with. But that doesn't erase the fact that at one point it was actually planned to release inside of the actual game, which is something you may not have known. Let's dive a little deeper into that. Essentially, during the development of the Outdoors subfloor, the developers showcased this image. Now you may recognize the knockback stick here in the back, and that's because this image showcased scrapped items from Ranked mode, which as you may know was later overhauled and re-implemented as Battle mode, which is now a permanent game mode. The knockback stick was originally planned to be featured as a weapon players could use in Battle mode, explaining why it could only knock back players and nothing else. It's a weapon after all. However, as we now know, it was cut and is now re-implemented as an admin panel exclusive item. This all makes you wonder why that even is in the first place. The developers could have very easily just nerfed the item, make it so it runs out of durability after a while and has a cooldown between whacks or whatever, but I guess they just didn't want to do that, which is kinda strange. This is kind of a shame too, as the item is mostly perfectly functional. It just needs a couple changes to be a proper addition into Battle mode, and I don't think anybody would complain at all if a nerfed version of it were implemented into the game mode. After all, there is absolutely nothing wrong with more items being added to the game, and given how this one has all the effort already put into it, it just seems kind of odd how one last stretch isn't taken by the developers to fully implement it into Battle mode. I, for one, would be a fan of seeing this thing in the game mode, and using it against other losers I'm paired up with. Alas, we never got that, and now this rather strange weapon just sits in the admin panel. And wouldn't you believe it, but this thing actually gets even more odd the more you dive into it. The first of these odd characteristics I'd like to discuss is that just like all the other battle mode weapons, the knockback stick can also stun Giggles. Given how the item never truly runs out of any durability, you can just use it to infinitely whack this entity as many times as your heart desires, effectively eliminating any chance of them being a threat to you. I also loved how all the other battle mode weapons also had this feature. It's a very cool Easter egg, and I'm glad it's present even with this scrapped battle mode item as well. I'm a big fan of this too, because I absolutely hate Giggles, and I think they deserve the absolute worst. Little face-eating freaks. I highly recommend, if you're not playing with any other people, so you can't really harass any real person with this, you can just use the knockback stick to solely harass Giggles. That'll teach them not to ruin my Mines playthroughs. They deserve it. Now, another thing you may not have known about the knockback stick is that it was actually bugged when it was initially released. Wow, who could have guessed? Doors had a bug when it updated. Anyways, upon the update's arrival, this item could not be dropped at all, as doing so would just cause it to completely vanish. Naturally, this didn't really impact the player that much, as given how the item can only be spawned with the admin panel, they could just grab another one. Additionally, Sally also couldn't pick up the item as well, even if you were attacked by them whilst holding it, meaning the image you are seeing on the screen right now once wasn't possible. These are oversights I kind of do understand though, since the item is never really seen due to how it's only obtainable with the admin panel, as I've previously described. Both of those bugs are fixed now, but it is kinda strange how this is the second time an item just failed to be a proper item on release. If you recall, the Aloe had a similar problem upon its release into the game in the Outdoors update, as it too didn't have the basic functionalities of all the other items, which was pretty strange, but like I said, it's happened again, so it'll probably happen in the future too. This is just the second time of this thing occurring. So yeah, that was basically everything you needed to know about Doors' most bizarre new, somewhat secret item, the knockback stick. Maybe one day it'll be implemented into the main game as a new battle mode item, with some heavy nerfs of course, as let's face it, this thing is absolutely broken in its current state. But I wouldn't be completely against its addition if it got some changes, like a proper cooldown and maybe even a durability bar. So with all of that being said, let me know down in the comments what you think of the knockback stick, as well as if I missed anything about the item in this here video. I'm pretty sure I nailed down everything, but there's always a chance I didn't. So in case I didn't, just correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Anyways, with all of that being said, thank you all for watching and I hope you enjoyed.